Hello, Princeton and Kingston United Methodist Church. My name is Tayler Necoechea. I am your associate pastor, and I am so happy to be here with you today in this weekly pastor's update. My question for us today is, what does it mean to deepen our faith? What does it mean to trust God to hold us up in the storm, even when we're not sure that God is really there? This coming Sunday, we will be reading Matthew's telling of Jesus and Peter walking on the water. It's a familiar passage for some of us, and perhaps to others, it's new. So let's read it together. Matthew 14, verses 22 through 33. Immediately, he made the disciples get into a boat and go ahead on the other side while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But by this time, the boat, battered by the waves, was far from the land, for the wind was against them. And early in the morning, he came walking toward them on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It's a ghost." And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart. It is I. Do not be afraid." Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." And so Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became frightened, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying, "You of little faith, why do you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and all those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." So in this story, Peter and the disciples see Jesus walking towards them on the choppy waves. And Peter wants to step out and be with him. He wants to know who this is. And he obeys Jesus' command to step out of the boat onto the choppy sea. But like many of us, Peter gets scared and begins to sink. And as this happens, Jesus grabs him and pulls him to safety. We often think of this as foolish, Peter's actions, or perhaps Peter lacked faith. But the preacher, Will Wilmon, has a different take on Peter's actions. He says in a sermon on this passage, if Peter had not ventured forth, had not obeyed the call to walk on water, then Peter would have never had this great opportunity for recognition of Jesus and rescue by Jesus. I wonder if too many of us are merely splashing about in the safe shallows and therefore have too few opportunities to test and deepen our faith. The story today implies that if you want to be close to Jesus, you have to venture forth out onto the sea. You have to prove his promises through trusting his promises, through risk and venture. And so today, as we meditate on this passage and prepare for worship this Sunday, I wonder where God is calling you to step out to deepen your faith. Is God calling you to trust that even if you have faith as tiny as a mustard seed, that something amazing can come from it? I wonder what it would be like for us to be like Peter and ask God to challenge us, ask God to give us and bring us into new opportunities to exercise and grow our faith, and maybe to be caught by Jesus along the way. I pray that this week, as we prepare to dive more into this story, that you consider where God is calling you to step out and recognize God that is there with you.